This is Bulletproof, where Hollywood scandals meet real detective work. I'm Steve Stanulis, former NYPD officer, celebrity bodyguard, and private investigator. Unlike other true crime podcasts, these aren't cold cases. These are active celebrity crime investigations happening right now. From Diddy's inner circle to A-list scandals. I've been there, and I'm exposing the celebrity secrets you've never heard. Welcome to Bulletproof Podcast, where the truth is the only armor and nothing gets past us. Today we're going to share a lighthearted story that, again, if you saw it in a movie, you wouldn't believe it. And this actually happened to me. And it was funny because it started off like, wow, I got the Yahtzee, and I couldn't understand why nobody was unhappy that they didn't get my assignment. So I had got hired with a firm to do security for one of the princess and royal families in Dubai. And basically, when we got to the Mandarin Hotel, we all were given assignments. And I was giving an itinerary, and what my job was basically to do security and work and show one of the princesses a good time, and basically show them whatever they wanted to do, kind of show for them and I don't want to say babysit them because they weren't kids. They were, late 20s. And when I got the paperwork, the itinerary, I noticed that I got the real attractive, good-looking, the hot one, let's say. I got the hot princess. And everybody else, when we were sharing with the rest of the guys, the itineraries and the pictures of everybody, and of who they got, who they were assigned to, everybody else's assignments were stereotypical, of what you would think of a female from Dubai would be. Or I shouldn't say that. What I should say is they were all kind of dressed appropriately, and mine was very Americanized for some reason, and I thought that was odd, and I thought it was cool, and I thought I hit the jackpot. Not that I was saying I'm not going to do anything, but I'm saying it will make it a lot more fun for me, and having someone that looked like she did only added to my assignment. But what happened was I was the one of the guys that did this family. This was my first time there, where a lot of the other guys were already assigned and have worked with this family before. And when I showed everybody who I got, nobody was like, "Oh my God, that's awesome! Look, I wish I was you. Why didn't I get her?" Everybody was kind of like almost like, "Thank God they didn't get this princess." And I'm like, this is kind of bizarre, because I'm thinking I hit the jackpot. I'm thinking like, wow, look at how beautiful this girl is. Look how Americanized she is. This is going to be an easy, fun time for me. I'm going to basically get paid to escort this girl around wherever she wanted to go, and basically almost have the same type of time she has. So, again, nobody said anything to me. Everybody was almost like relieved they didn't get her. So I knew there was something wrong. I couldn't figure it out, but whatever. So when we initially met our assignments, I had introduced myself, Your Highness, and one of her I don't want to. I don't want to say if it isn't or what it was. I'm going to say, for a lack of a better term, servants or friends or whatever they were said, "Can you come and pick us up tonight around 10 o'clock?" And I said, "Yeah, okay, great, yeah, no problem." She's like, "Yeah, just meet us kind of down the road from the hotel." So I'm like, "Okay, no sweat." And I thought that was I thought that was weird, that I was picking them up a little down the block. And B, most of them, when I say the family kind of doesn't go out after a certain time. But I said, okay, no problem. So 10 o'clock comes. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And the princess and her friend come and, they get in the car. And again, small talk, very professional, asking them where they want to go. So they decided they wanted to go to this hotel bar. So they asked me if I was familiar with it. I was kind of familiar with it, but I always, yeah, I know the place. It's great. Again, I didn't really know the place, but when we walked in, it was probably like a Tuesday night. We were the only ones, really. I think it was us and maybe a couple to the left and maybe somebody to the right. We got there around maybe 10:30. So what the protocol is, they sit at a table. I make sure they're okay. And then I go sit at a different table and just kind of watch them from afar. And what I start noticing is they have a drink, nothing crazy. Then I notice shots coming. Okay. Then another drink and then shots. So I'm like, oh boy. So anyhow, at some point I could tell the whole demeanor changed. Whatever guard they had up or whatever air they were putting up was totally gone. They were getting shit-faced. So they started looking over at me, and I'm like to myself, please don't ask me to come to the table. Please don't ask me to come to the table. And sure enough, they asked me to come to the table. So now I'm thinking to myself, if I say, yeah, I'm going to be screwed. There's no way I'm going to continue working after that night, and it was a good paying gig. But if I say no, then I'm going to insult them, right? So I go over to the table. They tell me to sit down. So I'm sitting down, and all I'm thinking in my head is, this is not good. This is not a good situation for me to be in, because now they're shit-faced. I'm responsible for them. And they're going to start telling me stuff or ask me things that I'm going to have to try to answer in a way where it's not coming off like I'm, like I find them attractive or I'm hitting on them, just trying to give generic answers. So the first question I get asked is, do I like Middle Eastern women? Do I find them attractive? So I'm like, oh man. I said, yeah. I find all women attractive. If you're beautiful and I like I like anything. I like all women. Again, I'm trying to be broad, so it's not to them per se, right? So they're like, but do you like, women from, a certain culture like ours? So I'm like, now again, what am I going to say? No? Because now I say no, it's insulting. I say yes. Now again, there's no way to win this one. There's no way. So I'm like, yeah, of course. Women from your culture attractive. Absolutely. So what's the next question? Do you find us attractive? So again, now I'm getting more and more cornered because again, do I say, no, I think you're ugly? So I say, yeah, you're both beautiful women. Then they proceed to tell me that it's predetermined who they're supposed to marry, and the person she's supposed to marry, a prince or whatever, is not straight. And she doesn't really want to be with him, and she'd like to be with a real man. Not that anything's not a real man, whatever. This is her words, that appreciates women. And she's never been physical with another man. She's waiting till she gets married. So I said, well, that's awesome. That's great. And she proceeds to say, now first of all, let's go back. So now we're sitting at a table. I'm responsible for them. They're out later than they should be. They're shit-faced, right? They're asking me if I find them attractive. They're telling me that whoever she's supposed to marry of royalty is gay. And now she's telling me that she doesn't really want to be a virgin before she gets married. So again, I'm fucked, basically. I'm fucked every which way. So it's now about, and I'm getting into the short version because there were a lot more questions asked. And again, I was almost like Bruce Lee. It was deferring, hitting every other question out. So I didn't have to answer them, but I answered enough. So about 1 a.m, the owner, because there was nobody else in there but us three, comes up to me and he says, hey, I'm looking to close. Do you mind leaving? So I'm like, Your Highness, well, I don't know if I call the princess or Your Highness, we have to leave. And she was being really belligerent, again, just because she was drunk, I guess. And I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know the owner, and he doesn't realize who you are. So, anyhow, when she tries to get up, she stumbles, as does her friend. So again, there's not one that's a little more sound of mind than the other. So I told him to wait there. I pull up the Escalade, and I actually physically have to pick each one up and take them into the back of the car, where then she proceeds to throw up in the vehicle. So now I'm trying to be, cool. Now I'm in a vehicle that's not mine. That's from the security companies that has puke in it. I am out. I was supposed to have them home by 10. They went out at 10. Now they're both hammered, and now they've told me all this stuff. So I end up bringing them back to the Mandarin Hotel. And again, they can't walk in by themselves. Again, the worst thing that happened was they were the way they were, and then the air hit them, and they just got worse. So obviously there was other security that I was working with that was there. And again, I asked for help, and they were all laughing at me. Again, they're all former cops, as former cops do. So I carry one in. I carry the second one in. And I guess there was somebody who's like they're oversees them, per se. And obviously they saw me doing this. So I call the guy who was in charge of the security. I tell them what happened. He's not that surprised because I guess the reason why everybody was relieved not to get her. Remember in the beginning I said, nobody was like all pissed that I got the good-looking princess and the Americanized princess because obviously they had known about her reputation. She's probably done it before. So I called the head of security that booked me, and I told him what happened. Just so I gave him a heads up. So he said either one or two things are going to happen. And he said probably the second. He said they're going to act like nothing happened tomorrow, and now you're kind of in because they gave you all this information. Or, which is most likely, they're going to realize they gave you all this information. Not the princess or her friend or whoever this other girl was, but the keeper of them, which was like an aunt or something, and just to keep everything under wraps, not knowing what I was told, what she told me, basically, we're going to fire me. So I next day I'm getting ready to come in. I had to be in by a certain time. I get a call. I was fired. And again, I couldn't figure out why. I mean, I knew why, but again, I really didn't do anything. But obviously, this is a pattern that she had, I guess, wherever they went. And also, which made sense because nobody else was up at that point in time but her aunt, who was her keeper, because she probably knew that she did this all the time and probably knew that she wasn't in her room and was waiting for her to come back. So when she came back and she took her from me and saw who I was, told the guy Dave, who was in charge, he's not to come back. So again, and it's a crazy story because, like I said, every which way you picture a princess from Dubai would act and be, I got like the black sheep, which was crazy. Again, I just, there's a lot of times on this podcast where we talk about, true crime. We talk about, cop stories. We talk about cold cases. We talk about a lot of different people. But, I just wanted to tell a lighthearted tale today. And not when I say tale, I mean truth. And again, it's always, and I always tell people with my life, it's always been a very Forrest Gumpian type life where I'm always in either the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the wrong time. But again, this is something that if they made a comedy about, you couldn't make up. So again, it's just something that I thought everybody would enjoy. And again, that's the way the bull rolls sometimes. So sometimes you eat the bear, sometimes the bear eats you. I thought maybe because of the transparency and because of all the questions she asked, that maybe she was attracted or whatever, and it would be a great week. Because now, we kind of broke the barrier down, but it was not to be. So that was another story, another case closed. Everybody listening, stay sharp, stay ready, and stay bulletproof. My name is Steve Stanulis. We'll see you next week. Thanks again for listening, and thanks for growing this podcast. Stay bulletproof. And that's Bulletproof, your source for celebrity crime investigations. Subscribe for new episodes. Send celebrity scandal tips. follow us on Instagram at Bulletproof True Crime Podcasts for exclusive content. This is Steve Stanulis. I'm keeping you bulletproof against all celebrity lies.